change is hard for everybody, and I've taught for 13 years with 9 of the years being exclusively to reading, so I really thought I had my system down. And then we came in with this new program, and Dr. Hopper had asked us to read, My Iceberg is Melting by John Cotter, which just proves, that we can handle change. And one of the best things I found from this is the organization that's involved with it, because I like the kids to know what's involved, and I want to too. Our universal screener did really well with the 2 things we test the kids on. We test them on fluency, and we test them on the maze with their comprehension. And my room had 18 students. I've got 4 top, 8 middle, and 6 that were low. And this is just a middle child. And he was just so excited to see this. I test every one of my students every week, all 18, and they get to see the progress monitoring on the computer. And they love technology anyway. So with him starting at 130, now if you notice, he's above the 270. And every one of my kids will tell you, for a 5th grader in the spring, they say, well, 147 is 50th percentile, but if they want to be in that top 10%, they know they need to get 200. And majority of my class, over 75%, are above the 200, but they've got to see it, because I think students perform better when they know what's expected. And then this is just the maze, and the maze is the reading comprehension. And this child was one of my lower level students, and he started out with only getting 9 words correct, which by the spring, this time, we want to get 24 correct to be at the 50th percentile, but to be in that top 10, they want 37. And he's now averaging 36 words. And they love to see this, and it charts out each week. And if they have a bad week or something, one of the students came to me and said, well, I didn't feel good that week. And they justify it, and they really feel like they take ownership of this. Another thing is the tracking logs, and you gave us that sheet for that, but the tracking logs are just wonderful to keep apprised of everything they're doing. So if the teacher's worried, but this is too much and I just can't get everything organized, you really need to do that. I put mine in individual binders for every student, and then just each day from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they tell me everything they specifically do, which each day I have a note for the teacher. And a lot of times the kids will say, I'm struggling with fact and opinion, or I'm struggling with inference, and it lets me go back to them, and I check it, and they know that I look at it each day. And each week I'll give them just a little smiley face that I think they did a really good job. And if they're not filling it out as completely as I want to, then I can call them up one-on-one or just a small group, and we discuss this. And another thing I do within this program, which I think is wonderful for people that really want to be organized, is do the portfolio. Really do because they can take this to every workshop they go to, or if you call them centers, whatever you do, and they're involved in it. And I've used this before we even had this program, so it was a change that I didn't have to give up, because I really loved this, and you can incorporate it easily into the RTI program. So it just goes into, and they get a portfolio grade for this, and we start with our journals. And that's just their free write. Helps them better on writing assessment, and they get to do whatever they want to, and the teacher needs to give them feedback on that. So that's a really good section. We have our stories that we read in our reading series, which is a great series, and every one of the stories, they go through that. They talk about the genre, they explain to me why it is, and every story, they must write a summary on it. So that's also good with the writing skills, helps us with the English and going like that. Then we have vocabulary, because vocabulary is a huge part of our component of reading. Sometimes they just do them as definitions if they feel they need it. Sometimes they create sentences. Sometimes they do things from the newspaper with it, but there's just so many activities we can do with the vocabulary, and they like that. TCAP is a big part of my portfolio. Sometimes it's a may-do, it's just a little extra thing they do, but everything that they are assessed on, and they understand what this A is, and they understand what SPIs are in my room, and we go through this and make sure that they really understand specifically what they're going to be tested on, because I'm a strong believer in when they know what is expected, they're not as nervous about it, and we check off when they've done these skills. And then we have our fluencies and our mazes, where they get to see how they improve each week, and we record these for them and we write it down in their folders, but they also have that they get to take home. And then this is just a little may-do section, because as they get finished with things and they have time left over, you don't want the kid raising their hand if you're at small group, what do I do now? And just any kind of activities that you can find. 5th graders love word searches, they love making little calendars, and it's just fun little activities for them to do. We also have a little may-do for scrapbook pages. And my girls really like this, so some of the boys do too. And this is something in their free time that works on their writing skills, their creativity, and it's something to keep them busy on task so that you can devote most of your time to small group. So I really think organization plays a big part in it to be a successful program, and these are just 3 of the little things that I think are huge that you would want to do in your classroom.